Hey, welcome to the new channel, Gay Boy Lego. I am a longtime Lego reviewer, as a matter of fact, except my previous channel got banned a few months ago. Now being reinvigorated with a new sense of pride and whimsy, I'm back! And this is Gay Boy Lego. However, this is not the camera I'm going to be using moving forward. I have a much better camera, however, it is at my other home. But for right now, I'm using my crappy 2007 freaking drugstore camera. It'll have to do for today. And you know what? What better a set, crappy old camera for a crappy old set? I'm not crappy necessarily, but Today we're going to be talking about the Moss Eisley Cantina, originally sold for $90 in Canada. It was originally released in 2014, so a little while ago. We're getting on. 616 pieces, 8 minifigures, set 75052, ages 8 to 14, but that's only a suggestion. And yeah, 4 of the minifigures are exclusive. So we'll just get right into it. First off, we've got Ugly Luke. In 2014, and it might have actually started in 2013, regardless, they did this really weird thing. I think they were getting really proud of how detailed they could make their minifigures. By the way, look at the size of that bubble in that lightsaber. Giant. They got really cocky with how much detail they could do, and for a while, this is straight up what Luke looked like. He looked like a gaunt-ass, ugly disaster from the pits of hell. I know a lot of people talk about how, ooh, he really didn't look that good after his car crash, but damn, he never looked this bad. And this is supposed to be for episode 4, which is pre-car crash anyway. So why on earth does he look like a freaking monster? This is a really weird and bad look. I can't remember if this is the one that he got in the UCS Sandcrawler or not, but I really hope not. He came in a few sets, this version of him. The same outfit that we get these days. It might have been recently updated, but it's relatively the same thing. And then on the back we have this really, really bad face. Like, damn, I don't know what they were thinking. That horrible butt chin, those weird lines at the side of the face, that freckle that he just doesn't even have in the movies. Oh, and that facial expression. What is that face? It's not even Luke. It's bad. This is a bad minifigure. I hate what they did with his face in these years. It just looks so wrong. It looks so wrong. Anyways, then we've got dear old Obi-Wan. This is a version that we got of him for a little while after this. This is actually the one that stayed with that terrible, terrible old hair that they still haven't updated for him. To be fair, though, as they pointed out in the episode 3 behind the scenes, Alec Guinness's hair is very inconsistent throughout the movie, so having a very generic hairpiece almost kind of works, but, it's just a bad, ugly hairpiece. Same blue lightsaber. The face is good, though. His face is very old man, Alec Guinness looking. No second face, though, except these old hair pieces are bad at hiding those. They've almost entirely phased these old hair pieces out. They're almost gone. I feel like we're at the very cusp of it. But anyway, that outfit, though. Miscoloration City over here. We got the dark brown torso with the tan very, very hideously printed on there. Very pale, very ugly, bad look. Then you got the legs right there, which have the dark brown printed on them, which is, once again, is a miscoloration from the torso. That is not a very good look. The hood on the back is almost completely invisible, and yeah, so not really that great. This is the same one that we got in the Death Star, and I think maybe 1 or 2 other sets. He's got some problems, definitely. Glad that they updated him in that crummy little Death Star gunner set we got recently, which God knows why they even made that a thing. Then we have Han Solo. This is probably one of the most, one of the better aged things of this set, at least amongst our human characters. His torso looks good, his legs look good. This is, I think it's the same torso and legs that we've been getting for the last little while. It might have been slightly updated, but it's still the general gist of this. He's got this face which is good. It's very Han. It's strange that this era where they overly wrinkled Luke, they actually got the Han Solo face spot on, that kind of smug little bit of a grin there, and then this one, which is a bit more serious on the back. Really love this Harrison Ford head, and then this unfortunate hair, which fortunately, I think it was just a year, I think it was 2 years after this set was released, they actually updated this hair, which was really, really nice, and we were very lucky to get that. Anyways, then we got a Sand Trooper. He is also not exclusive. I genuinely thought he was. I thought there was some part of him which had to be exclusive. There had to be something that was special about this guy, but there is absolutely not. I brick-linked all his pieces, and all of them come in at least like 4 or 5 other sets. Really nothing distinctly special about him. He's just got sand smudges over the armor. He's got that big old thing of ammo right there, presumably. He's got the black pauldron, which is always the coolest look for these Sand Troopers. The black is always, you know, nice and foreboding. The orange is just kind of goofy looking, I've always thought. Anyways, he's got the splattered helmet there, the older style helmet. Never thought I'd be saying that about this mold, but yeah, older style. Crappy, terrible old clone face, which is just peachy keen. Take off that pauldron, and we got the backpack there with the 2 hilts, and then the back printing, very underwhelming. Gotta love how I gotta rip apart this whole minifigure to show the back, but I'm not gonna be editing these videos, at least for now, you know. Just stream of consciousness. Unscripted. Raw, if you will. Anyways, then we've got Greedo. I don't know why he has these pockets. He doesn't have these pockets in the movie. Why does he have these pockets in the set? Anyways, his colors are good. No printed arms, which is sad. Back printing is fine, I guess. The head, I really like this color. This kind of more sickly-ish sort of color that we have for Greedo. Once again, I don't think it's that good of a representation, but just for getting Rhodian heads in different colors and whatnot, it's interesting enough. Yeah, I think he's a pretty neat minifigure. I like what they did with him. In some regards, the pockets are kind of weird, and it's sad that we don't have the printed arms anymore, but c'est la vie. And yeah, he remains exclusive to this set. Anyways, then our last 3 exclusives are all members of the Bith Band. As you can see, the modal nodes appear here, lacking their 4th member. Although a lot of people complain about that, I think that 8 minifigures for a set of this size is perfectly reasonable. I think that they were generous enough with the 3 band members that we got. I think it's fine, personally. And you know what? Just ordering one more after you've already ordered this set, you know, just do it if you really care that much. 3 band members is fine, honestly. The torso, I really like these torsos. It's nice and generic, but it's also got some detail, which makes it so that it can be used for a lot of different things. I really love the heads in the mold. They've aged perfectly. I love that anus face and that butt cheek forehead and those eyes and whatnot. Very nice if you want to make like a Darth Tenebris. Some nice back printing and some really nice back of the head molding right there. Very distinct. Love these aliens. I think that they're really cool, and I think that they're nicely done. And I like the other 2 as well. You know, they're the exact same, except this one's got this goofy little instrument right here, and this one's got this goofy little instrument right there. So those are your minifigures. 8 for a set of this size is certainly good. I think that that is a good amount, and especially for a playset that is trying to be so very multifaceted. So I think that's absolutely good. While some of them, of course, haven't aged that well for the time when they were released, you know, they were good. This was an interesting time for LEGO Star Wars. They were kind of lost and fumbling around, you know. It was before the new movies started coming out and Clone Wars wasn't on, so a lot of the stuff that they're banking on at this time was like Rebels stuff. So this was a strange time for LEGO, but you know, it was really nice in this sort of era. This, like, I want to say 2012 to like early 2015 sort of thing. This whole era where we were getting a bunch of interesting sets, like a lot of original trilogy and prequel sets that we were getting because they were remaking stuff because they didn't have new movies to be basing stuff on, you know. And it was around 2012 that they started to focus a little bit less 2012, 2011, when they started to focus a little bit less on Clone Wars and started to get back to the OT and some of the prequels, and it was really nice because you got sets like this, and you know, getting sets like this isn't so very common these days, although we might be getting back into that era, because with Rise of Skywalker out and Mandalorian sets being sparse to say the least, we might just be getting a nice new influx of, you know, some older sort of style sets, some more remakes and whatnot, and so that was essentially the circumstances in which this set was born. Lego Star Wars was just kind of fumbling around in the dark, trying to update stuff and just doing the best that they could with the original source material, some of which was like, you know, over 30 years old at the time, and you know what? Stuff like this got released, and it was some consider it a golden age, some consider it to be kind of just random nonsense while they were waiting for the new movies to come out, but regardless of how you feel about it, this is what we got out of it. And before we actually get into the Cantina, the meat of the set, if you will, as you can see, this set comes with a little bit of exterior constructs. First, we've got a dewback. This dewback is exclusive to the set. Oh dear, this is supposed to have another end to it because it is the, damn it, dewback poker. It's supposed to be like the big old pole that he has. It's got 2 antennas on it, but I guess the other antenna's gone. Anyways, the dewback mold is really nice. It's completely immobile. None of the legs move, which kinda sucks. We just have this tail, and we got these legs, and that's kind of it. He's got this mouth. He looks super stoned. He looks like he's like, he's really cute. I like what they did with this dewback. They got like the teeth sort of just, you know, just printed in there and on there. It's nice. I like the little bits of texture that they put on him, and it's really, really nice. They also included some rounded pieces, so if you want to take off the saddle and just have him be a naked, you know, wild dewback, you can do that as well, which is nice. I like his eye. I like the detail. I like the molding. I think it's sculpted really nicely. As you can see, we've just got the, you know, the standard sort of reins, if you will. Then we've got the saddle right there, which is perfectly fine. I like the little pouches that we've got sort of hanging off, which sort of, you know, form around the dewback's you know, shape, if you will. A little bit of a rifle just hanging off to the side right here, and then, you know, the destroyed stick on the other side, and then, you know, you can just take your sand trooper and just put him up there, and he looks just terribly proper, I should say, right up there. There you go. And I think it's a half decent look. This dewback, I think it's nice, and I think anyone who's has an appreciation of, you know, Tatooine and whatnot, and certainly now that a dewback or two has been in you know, The Mandalorian, it's certainly an important, albeit generic, sort of pack animal. Then we've got this darn thing. Anyone sick of sand speeders yet? Because I sure as hell know I am. I'm so damn sick of these stupid things, and we have a new one coming out in stores right now, and it's like, oh, really? Really? Another freaking sand speeder, because people so want that again. We just had one like a few years ago. I swear it was like in 2016 or 2017. We just had a sand speeder, and then we had this set, and then we had the one before that, and we had the one before that, and it was just too many sand speeders. Sand speeders are good in contexts like this, when the set itself is clearly not impressive enough to stand on its own, so they throw in other crap like this. As a crutch, I like a sand speeder, and a crutch it most certainly is. I think the colors are good on this one, with the sort of palish orange and all the maroon and whatnot. You got the nice sort of bands moving around in there, which is actually made from some of like the bendier sort of rods, which they've just sort of sheathed through, as you can see there, which is a really, really nice technique. I like what they did with that. I hate how in the new set you can see that it's clearly just, like, some stickers that they have along here. Why so lazy? Like, I love the actual brick-built texture rather than the stickers. Like, how stupid. You got your little machinery patch right there. I like some of the stickers on this thing. Although, as you can see, for some reason, some of them are coming off. I only built this set like a month ago, so I don't know what's wrong with it. Got some clear bits on the bottom right there. Got some nice little repulsors. It's such a simple vehicle. The back can come off, and you can put your lightsabers in there. And of course, you can also put your Obi-Wan and your Luke in there. I'm not going to put them in there because I believe in your vast imagination to imagine them in there. The windshield right there, it's a very simple shape. It's a very simple vehicle from a very old movie, so there's nothing really that impressive about it, but, you know, it's done as well as you'd imagine it would be, given that it's something that's so very simple. Basically, anyone can make a sand speeder. It's a basic thing, but as an addition to this set, it's perfectly fine. yeah. So that's the peripheral things, and then we've got our actual Mos Eisley Cantina, as you can see. Now, which way is up on this thing is a good question. You can fold this a few different ways. As you can see, you've got the two booths right there. The band's supposed to go here, and Greedo and Han are supposed to go here. We're going to look into those with a little bit more detail. And then you got the bar over here. This can fold in like that, and that can fold in like this to create something. This sure is a tan-looking thing with no roof. Interesting kind of folding feature. Don't really totally understand it, but I guess it's interesting? I don't really know. Speaking of things that can fold, this door area with this, this can also open up for some reason, and it's all very confusing. This is a strange little playset. Anyways, just before we get into all the interior stuff, just how the exterior looks is just underwhelming. You've got a trough right here with a bone in it. You can push that in, and that reveals a play feature later. You've got some things right here. Oh, damn it. This set comes with something else. Hold on. Ay. Forgot the evaporator. I knew something was missing.
Your vape?
My vape. Go ahead. This set comes with a evaporator, as you can see. It's got a moisture evaporator, and that's supposed to stick to one of these little old handles at the back right there, and then you can have evaporator, which just sort of hangs out outside the Mos Eisley Cantina. It's a half-decent looking evaporator. It's the most recent evaporator we've ever gotten, unless there's been something in an advent calendar, I don't remember. It's cute, it's got the 3 prongs, it's shaped really nicely, and, you know, just if you can build a bunch of these, you could have like a half-decent little moisture farm, honestly. Just stick it to the back of this thing, and, you know, just have it sitting around. It's another one of those little useless extra builds, but, you know, without that, this whole back area looks bland and pretty kind of dull. I don't really like what they did with it. This whole blockiness up here, what with the rounded shape, is really jarring. I don't like this antenna up here. These windows just look all very sloppy. You know, there's a bunch of these big pieces around. Another one right over here. Just not very good looking and clearly not very thought out. The set clearly had a lot more dedicated to the interior because the exterior is basically nothing. As you can see, you've got this little rounded bit with this ladder right here, and then we've got this whole area on the outside. At least you got the one rounded dome, you know, of the Mos Eisley Cantina, which, you know, can open. Yay. But yeah, that's basically your exterior. It does not look good at all. So then, you got your door right here. You saw it earlier. It looks pretty simple. Looks like the door from the movie. You know, you got your little trash can right there. You got the thing right here, and then you pull this, and then it opens. Amazing feature. I like it. It's cute. You know, it's always nice to have an actual opening door feature. Then you can actually open that, thus negating that whole opening door feature. And then in there, as you can see, we've just got 2 seats. For some reason, just 2 seats and a little lamp right there. And then you've also got like a little droid scanner right there, which has a little sticker on it. And I guess that's perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that. Moving along, as you can see, that's right over here. That's where people come into the cantina, as it were, with a little lamp on the side right there, which is perfectly fine, I guess. As you can see, now you've got your 2 booths, and when you push in that trough that you saw on the outside, that pushes these out, so you can, you know, push that out so it's more accessible to put your minifigures in there. Over here, as you can see, we've got a little bit of a band area. Although it doesn't look very good without your band in it, it is perfectly serviceable when you've actually got them in there. As you can see, in both the booths, you've got some little lights on the walls, and then you've got some little lamps behind them as well. Just sort of extra Star Wars-y greebling. As you can see right here, you've got 2 seats, which are meant to be for your Greedo and your Han, or your Han. And you can just plop Han right there, and you can plop Greedo right there, and you can have them have their whole confrontation. And you know what? I actually happen to like how they look in this little booth. I think that's a proper look. You know, nice and like pushed back into like the wall of this thing. I really like that little booth look in there. And then, you know, for your modal nodes, you can pose them in there however you want. Ain't nobody got time to actually put them in there for you, but you know, you can imagine it, I'm sure. It's a fine little area when you put them in there, but without it, it looks like nothing. Then you got the bar, which is definitely aesthetically the best part of the set. It looks really, really nice. I like this whole rounded bit over here. The positioning of this bar is confusing in comparison to where the door is. Makes me think that like the door is supposed to enter in here and then this is supposed to be here, but it doesn't let much walking room over here. When it comes to the actual like ground like layout of the bar, it really doesn't make much sense. Regardless, anyways, you've got your little area, you know, you've got the bar, which is quite nice. It would have been nice to have a seat, but whatever. Got a mug right there, got all your drink dispensers and all that sort of very interesting sci-fi beverage disposal that they've got in the background. And I think this sort of vague, strange greebling over here, I think that does the trick. But underneath it right there, you can see you've got some drawers. In this one, you've got 2 just round gold flats. And then in the bottom one, you've got nothing. Then, of course, also you've got the cash register right here, which is a sticker, as you can see. And beside it, you've got a very obvious blaster. And then just another, you know, doorway over here because pieces are expensive. Single bar just sort of wrapped around there. No bartender included in the set, which I would complain about, but we got him in a later, crappier Mos Eisley set, so, you know, you can still obtain your wooher, as it were, which is how I presume you say it. I've only ever seen it written. But yeah, that's really all there is to your Mos Eisley Cantina set. This set is very fondly remembered, isn't it? A lot of people really like to look back on this with the old rose-tinted glasses, and while I kinda see why, you know, you've got pretty cool minifigure selection, you know, you've got some pretty cool sort of peripheral builds, if you will, you know. For a kid, there's a lot to do here, but for the sake of display, it's not that good. This is a set that I think for you to enjoy it, it really relies on your imagination, because as is, it's not really that good. It's kinda ugly, you know, the Mos Eisley Cantina on the outside definitely is not very good looking, and even from the inside, it's got its moments, like the bar is cool, and Greedo and Han have their area, but some areas just do not look all that good. I think it's just like a lot of different sort of colors mashed together, and I think it kind of creates for an abnormal, inconsistent sort of appearance. However, you know, I can admit that minifigure in the selection is good, vast, definitely. I don't know. Price for piece isn't phenomenal here. I guess it's okay. You know, we certainly get a lot worse these days. So price for piece is fine, I'll say. The actual Mos Eisley Cantina construction is kind of underwhelming. Especially after people have been hyping it up for so many years. It's really not all that special. We don't really get sets like this, and I think that's part of why it's remembered so fondly. It's because it's a very much, you know, it's a rare kind of set that we get, you know, a decent-sized playset like this. You know, you could say Darth Vader's castle was a decent-sized playset like this, but, you know, a set that is, you know, like $90 in Canada, and it's this size, and it's this dedicated, you know, to, you know, having a bunch of interior and having a bunch of, you know, areas where imaginative play is like the main focus. You know, it's not about flick missiles, it's not about, you know, stud shooters or folding wings, you know, most Star Wars set features, you know, it's just literally about what your imagination can make it. And I think that is why this one is so unique and why it's so fondly remembered. Because a lot of people had it as kids, and because of that, a lot of people were able to, with their childlike imagination, make it into whatever it, you know, they wanted it to be. Because, you know, you've got characters with blasters, you know, you got good guys, you got bad guys, you got a very, you know, interesting, iconic scene. You know, you've got band. You know, there's a lot of, it's very evocative, let's just say, of the ambience of the scene, you know? So there are definitely things to like here, but I think your enjoyment of the set largely hinges on how much your imagination will let you. Personally, I see quite a few flaws. I see a mediocre price for peace. I see a actual build that is kind of underwhelming in a lot of ways and a lot more obsessed with hinges than actually being good. However, I do see a really cool dewback. I see some exclusive Bith band members. I see a pretty half-decent sand speeder, and I see some little areas that are actually worth a damn. So for the purposes of this set, you know, I think it's okay, honestly. Just as it is, without me, you know, trying to throw away my rose-tinted glasses, I think it's okay. But I wouldn't give it any more than that, you know? I wouldn't call it mediocre because there are just few too many nice things in this to say that it's mediocre, but I would say that it's definitely okay. It's looked back on as something that's great and phenomenal, and I've even heard some losers call it perfect, but it is obviously far from that. I mean, just look at it, for Pete's sake. There's a lot of fun to be had here, but it does have its glaring issues. But yeah, that's really all I've got to say about the Mos Eisley Cantina. Gay Boy Lego out.